guys, it's Brittany. So today is gonna be a back in time watches video, and today I'll be looking back on the first time that I've watched Psycho. So I remember watching Psycho at the time when I was a teenager, and this was around when Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were still around, the video stores. And to me that was just like a good time because you can actually go in the video store and just pick up any movie to rent, and by the time you're done watching it, return it back. But I actually missed that because it almost felt like walking into a movie theater because it had that kind of carpet, and the way it looked so nice, and it just made you feel like to me it just felt like when you walk in that there's endless, like there's so many movies you can choose from, and there's just many movies you can choose to rent and return. So I actually miss that. I do. But anyway, I remember that during that time when Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were still in business, of those two video stores that were quite popular, of those that were always going in and out renting movies from those stores. And I remember I would go there, like me, my mom, my sister, we would go to Hollywood Video and just rent any movie that we wanted from there. And it was great. So I remember one of the movies we rented was actually Psycho. And so I remember when we did watch Psycho the first time, I'm trying to remember, I think I was maybe 14 at the time, and of course watching this movie, I knew it was an Alfred Hitchcock movie because I have seen Alfred Hitchcock movies before watching Psycho. I have watched The Birds and Vertigo. Those were like the only two movies I've seen so far. And so with Psycho, I thought, well, okay, so this is an Alfred Hitchcock movie, so this looks like it'll be good. And I remember watching it, the first time watching it, and it was just good. And I just remember kind of like hearing the music part. I'm like, wow, the music's good, but it has like the music's kind of suspense, where when you see her character Marion, like you see where I think she's kind of getting suspicious of who might be suspicious of her. So she starts to question, like, okay, is anybody watching me? So I think at some point she's paranoid, and that's where you hear, the music. So the music really adds to the movie. It just really builds up the suspense and the tension, and how she's kind of getting suspicious of her surroundings, and somehow wondering if somebody could be following or watching her. So yeah, and then of course she stops by at this motel, and of course what she doesn't know is that the person she's talking to is he's not all there. He's not really mentally stable. And so of course he approaches to her, but of course the way he talks to her, that of course he seems nice. He may seem nice when he approaches to her, but there's something deep inside him that's mentally and psychologically wrong with him. And it all has, and I think it all comes down to with the kind of relationship he had with his mother. It wasn't such a good and healthy son and mother relationship, because he got jealous of his mother's boyfriend because he felt like that the boyfriend was taking his mother away from him because, he just felt that he grew jealous, and because that, out of anger and jealousy, he killed his mom's boyfriend and killed his mom because of that. So of course she doesn't even know about him at all, because he's a stranger and she's a stranger to him. So they don't know anything about each other. But yet, now I would say, while watching this the first time, at that time, it was yeah, I was even starting to think like, okay, where is this going? And then, so since I didn't know anything about Norman, I thought, I don't know, to me, even the first time watching it, to me, it just felt like there was something off about him. I didn't know what that was, but until later in the movie, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, So it wasn't until when she went to her room after she, had spent time with him and, talking to him. And so when she went back to her room, he takes down a frame, what looks like a picture frame, and yet there's a hole in the wall, and he's peeping through the hole, and he's watching her getting undressed as she's getting ready to take a shower. And that is just so, that is just so wrong. That's invasion of privacy, but of course she doesn't know she's being watched through the hole in the wall. And so it's just, it's just so wrong in so many ways. And yet, with that going on, and so of course seeing that, I was like, what is he doing? Like, and I'm like, oh god, it's like, okay, don't, like, what are you doing, you pervert? Like, don't be watching her. Like, so yeah, I just did not like that. And then of course at some point, when she's taking a shower, but then all of a sudden you see this figure, like shadow figure, approaching. And of course this curtain, shower curtain, it's kind of like a see-through curtain, because you see the shadow figure that's approaching, and all of a sudden this person, we don't really see the face clearly, but somehow we think, okay, this person just walks in with the knife in their hand and killing her. And so after that happens, he's, we start to think, okay, it's his mother. So that's what I thought at first too. I thought, oh gosh, like his mother just got so mad that he brought someone to the motel, and yet she did not like that, and just out of anger, like she just killed that poor woman, when she's in the shower. Like, that's the most vulnerable place to be in, is when you're, in the shower with no clothes on. Like, come on, like, you don't do that to somebody, especially if they're doing something and it's a very vulnerable position for them to be in. Like, okay, that's just horrible. And so I just like, like remember feeling bad, like, oh no, like, and so I had a feeling that somehow something was gonna happen, but I wasn't so sure what that would be. But then of course later, when the story unfolds of the character of Norman, and of course when this person, I don't know who this person is. I think he's either, I would have to look it up because I forgot. But this character in particular, he's saying how, he seems to have a personality disorder, because it's like, especially after he killed his mother, that now, because he killed his mother, ever since he did, it's like now that personality of his mother that he knows of somehow that has taken completely over him. And it's like there are two sides to him. There's one side that's him of Norman, where he seems harmless, but then there's this other side to him, of his mother's personality side to him that takes over him. And yet it just seems like he can't really be who he is completely without his mother's personality taking over him, and so I would say this: the way he was describing it, the way he was really mentioning it, when he was really describing it, in such a way, for me to understand. And I'm just like, and believe me, I remember just being shocked, and I'm like, no way, like, that is messed up, that is so twisted, like, completely. And I just remember thinking, okay, no wonder that happened, because it wasn't him doing that, it was his split personality, which his mother's side, psychologically, took over him, mentally. So it's like this mental but psychological thing going on with him. So I think that's something and I think the reason why that happened, because he couldn't somehow handle, or he couldn't seem to cope with his mother's death since he killed her. So I think somehow, to keep her memory alive, he had this personality, other personality side to him of his mother, to somehow keep her alive. So that itself was like I said, it's twisted. So like I said, so I think in a way that, I think the impression it left me was, not to trust people who are like that, because it can be scary, because you just don't know. And of course, what makes it scary is that, just everything else that we see in the movie. But yeah, after watching that, now of course I did thought, okay, this is a good movie, Alfred Hitchcock did such a great job. But at the same time, I thought, oh man. But now, from what my sister told me, is that she, the shower scene really scared her, because I think she had a nightmare about it. Now, I was scared of the shower scene too, but I think somehow it made me felt like kind of paranoid when I would take a shower. So I was like kind of being cautious and, just being paranoid. So I was like, yeah, that's how I felt. So hope you guys enjoy this video. So yeah, that was my first time watching it. And yeah, so for more review content, subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below on when you first watched Psycho. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.